Good morning. If you've noticed that your memory isn't quite what it used to be, if you're forgetting names or struggling to find the right word, if your mornings feel foggy and your thinking seems slower than it once was, you are not alone. And there is something simple, practical, and powerful you can do starting tomorrow morning. I'm Dr. Adriana, and today I'm going to explain the specific breakfast composition that may support memory and cognitive health naturally after 65. Within the next 60 seconds, I'll name exactly what goes on that plate. This is a breakfast built around 3 core components: a high-quality protein source rich in omega-3 fatty acids, a serving of antioxidant-rich berries loaded with flavonoids, and a whole grain or low glycemic complex carbohydrate for steady energy and B vitamins. I'll give you exact ingredient lists, simple preparation methods that take 5 to 15 minutes, portion sizes you can measure in your own kitchen, and the science in plain language explaining how this specific combination may support memory, sharpen focus, reduce brain fog, and protect your cognitive health better than the typical senior breakfast. This is not a miracle cure for Alzheimer's disease or dementia, but it is education about strategic, evidence-based nutrition that can help your brain function at its best, and it all starts with what you choose to eat within the first 1 to 2 hours after you wake up. Your brain is one of the most metabolically active organs in your entire body. It represents only about 2% of your body weight, but it uses roughly 20% of your total energy and oxygen. Think of your brain like a high-performance engine. It needs premium fuel, delivered consistently, or it sputters, misfires, and eventually suffers damage. When you skip breakfast or grab a pastry and coffee, you're flooding that engine with sugar that burns fast and leaves you empty, or you're running it on fumes altogether, and the result is brain fog, poor word recall, difficulty concentrating, and over time, increased risk of cognitive decline. The breakfast I'm about to describe delivers the specific nutrients your brain needs to build and maintain healthy cell membranes, produce neurotransmitters that carry signals between brain cells, protect against oxidative stress and inflammation that damage neurons, and stabilize blood sugar so your brain has steady glucose without the crashes. The omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA, are structural components of brain cell membranes and keep those membranes fluid and responsive so signals can pass efficiently. The antioxidants in berries, particularly flavonoids, cross the blood-brain barrier and protect neurons from oxidative damage while improving blood flow to the brain, which delivers more oxygen and nutrients. The B vitamins in whole grains support the synthesis of acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter most closely linked to memory and learning. The healthy fats slow digestion and keep blood sugar stable, preventing the glucose spikes and crashes that impair focus and create that mid-morning mental fog. The fiber in whole grains and fruits feeds beneficial gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids and neurotransmitter precursors that travel to the brain and influence cognition and mood. This is not magic. This is biochemistry, and it works if you do it consistently. You may notice improved morning clarity and sharper focus within 7 to 14 days. And with consistent habit, you're building long-term protection for your memory and cognitive independence. Let me be very clear. This breakfast can help and may support brain health, but it is one part of a comprehensive approach that includes sleep, physical activity, social engagement, stress management, and proper medical care for any diagnosed cognitive conditions or medications you take. Now, in the next 2 minutes, I'm going to reveal the exact portions and ingredients you need, and then I'll show you 3 different ways to prepare this breakfast so you can start tomorrow, no matter your time constraints or cooking skills. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change how your brain feels every single morning for the rest of your life. The foundation of this brain-healthy breakfast is protein, specifically protein that delivers omega-3 fatty acids. Your best options are 2 whole eggs cooked any way you like, scrambled, poached, or soft-boiled, with 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed stirred into the eggs or sprinkled on top, or 3 ounces of smoked salmon, which is about the size of a deck of cards. Alternatively, you can use a 1/4 cup of walnuts, roughly a small handful, or 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, made into a pudding with unsweetened almond milk or low-fat dairy milk overnight in the refrigerator. Each of these choices gives you the omega-3s your brain needs, especially DHA, which maintains the integrity and fluidity of brain cell membranes and supports communication between neurons. If you're eating eggs, choose omega-3 enriched eggs if they're available, because the hens are fed flaxseed and the eggs contain more DHA. If you're choosing salmon, smoked salmon is convenient, requires no cooking, and pairs beautifully with other breakfast foods. But if you prefer fresh salmon, a small fillet cooked the night before and eaten cold or gently reheated works just as well. Aim for at least 15 to 20 grams of protein at breakfast. 2 eggs give you about 12 grams, so add that tablespoon of flaxseed or some Greek yogurt on the side to reach the target. Protein and healthy fats together slow gastric emptying, stabilize blood sugar, and keep you satisfied and mentally sharp through the morning. Next, add a half cup of berries. This can be fresh or frozen blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, or a mix. And frozen is just as nutritious as fresh, often more affordable, and available year-round. Berries are rich in flavonoids, particularly anthocyanins, which are the pigments that give berries their deep colors, and which have been shown in research to improve memory, slow cognitive decline, and enhance blood flow to the brain. A half cup is about the size of your cupped hand, and you can eat them plain. Stir them into oatmeal or yogurt, blend them into a smoothie, or warm them gently on the stove with a sprinkle of cinnamon for a compote to spoon over whole grain toast. The natural sugars in berries are balanced by fiber, so they won't spike your blood sugar the way juice or sweetened cereal would. And that fiber also supports your gut microbiome, which plays a role in brain health through the gut-brain axis. If berries aren't available or you don't enjoy them, you can substitute other antioxidant-rich fruits like cherries, pomegranate seeds, or orange segments. But berries are the gold standard for brain health because of the specific types and concentrations of flavonoids they contain. Now here's something critical that most people get wrong. And in about 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you the one breakfast mistake that's sabotaging your memory right now. But first, let me finish the blueprint. Now add your whole grain or low glycemic complex carbohydrate. This is a half cup of cooked oatmeal, steel cut or rolled oats, not instant oatmeal packets that are loaded with sugar, or 1 slice of whole grain bread, the kind with visible seeds and grains and at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. You can also use a 1/3 cup of cooked quinoa if you enjoy a savory breakfast bowl. Whole grains provide B vitamins, particularly B6, folate, and B12 if the grain is fortified. And these vitamins are essential for producing neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the memory neurotransmitter, and as we age, acetylcholine production often declines, contributing to forgetfulness and difficulty learning new information. Whole grains also provide steady glucose release, which is critical because your brain runs on glucose but needs it delivered in a smooth, sustained stream, not in spikes and crashes. When you eat refined carbohydrates like white bread, sugary cereals, or pastries, your blood sugar shoots up rapidly, your pancreas releases a surge of insulin, and within an hour or two your blood sugar crashes below baseline, leaving you foggy, irritable, hungry, and unable to focus. Whole grains prevent that roller coaster and keep your brain fueled evenly throughout the morning. Add a source of healthy fats if your protein choice didn't already cover it. Half of a medium avocado, sliced or mashed onto whole grain toast, gives you monounsaturated fats that support heart health and brain health by improving cholesterol levels and reducing inflammation. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil drizzled over scrambled eggs or a savory grain bowl provides polyphenols with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. 1 tablespoon of almond butter or peanut butter spread on toast adds healthy fats, a bit more protein, and vitamin E, which protects brain cells from oxidative damage. If you're already eating salmon or walnuts, you've got your healthy fats covered, so you can skip this step or keep the portion small. The key is not to load up on saturated fats from butter, bacon, or sausage, which promote inflammation and are associated with poorer cognitive outcomes in research studies. Keep your fats plant-based or from fatty fish and your portions moderate because fat is calorie-dense and you want a balanced plate, not a heavy, sluggish feeling. Finally, consider optional brain boosters that you can add for extra cognitive support. A 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric mixed into scrambled eggs or oatmeal, along with a pinch of black pepper to enhance absorption, provides curcumin, a compound with powerful anti-inflammatory effects that may protect against age-related cognitive decline. A cup of green tea instead of coffee gives you L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes calm focus, along with polyphenols that support brain health, and a moderate amount of caffeine for alertness without the jitters. A handful of fresh spinach or kale, stirred into eggs or blended into a smoothie, adds folate, vitamin K, and lutein, nutrients linked to slower cognitive decline and better memory in older adults. Now let me give you 3 practical preparation options so you can make this work, no matter your energy level, time constraints, or cooking skills. If you have 5 minutes and want something quick, combine 3/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt, which gives you protein and probiotics for gut health, with a 1/2 cup of mixed berries, 2 tablespoons of chopped walnuts, and a drizzle of honey or a sprinkle of cinnamon for flavor. That's it. No cooking required. And you've hit all the key components: protein, omega-3s, antioxidants, and a touch of natural sweetness. This is the fastest version, and honestly, it's delicious, and something you'll actually look forward to eating. If you have 15 minutes and want a warm sit-down breakfast, scramble 2 eggs with a handful of fresh spinach, serve with 3 ounces of smoked salmon on the side, a 1/2 cup of berries, and 1 slice of whole grain toast. This feels like a proper meal. It's satisfying and delicious, and it sets you up mentally and physically for the entire day. I've had patients tell me this version made them feel like they were taking breakfast seriously for the first time in years, and that psychological shift matters. When you invest 15 minutes in your brain health each morning, you're sending yourself a powerful message about your worth and your priorities. If you want to make breakfast ahead because mornings are difficult, or you're not hungry right when you wake up, prepare overnight oats the night before. In a jar, combine a 1/2 cup of rolled oats, 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, a 1/2 cup of unsweetened almond milk or low-fat dairy milk, a 1/2 cup of berries, and a tablespoon of chopped walnuts or flaxseed. Stir, cover, and refrigerate overnight. In the morning, it's ready to eat cold, or you can warm it gently in the microwave for 30 seconds. This option is perfect if you have limited mobility, low morning energy, or you prefer not to cook, and it travels well if you need to eat on the go. If you have trouble chewing, swallowing, or a reduced appetite, which are common challenges after 65, a smoothie can deliver all the same brain-healthy nutrients in an easy-to-consume form. In a blender, combine a 1/2 cup of berries, a 1/2 cup of plain Greek yogurt, or a scoop of unflavored or vanilla protein powder for 15 to 20 grams of protein, 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed or chia seeds, a small handful of fresh spinach which you won't taste, but which adds folate and vitamin K, a 1/2 cup of unsweetened almond milk, and a few ice cubes. Blend until smooth, and you have a nutrient-dense, easy-to-drink breakfast that takes less than 5 minutes. Timing matters almost as much as composition. Try to eat this brain-healthy breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking up, because when you sleep, you fast. And by morning, your liver glycogen stores are depleted and your brain is running low on fuel. Eating a balanced breakfast replenishes those stores, stabilizes blood sugar, and signals your body's circadian rhythms that it's time to be alert and active, which improves cognitive performance throughout the day. Research shows that people who eat breakfast, particularly a breakfast rich in protein and whole grains, perform better on memory tasks, have faster reaction times, and report better mood and focus compared to those who skip breakfast or eat only refined carbohydrates. Pair your breakfast with hydration. A glass of water as soon as you wake up, and then water or green tea with your meal. Dehydration impairs cognitive function quickly, even mild dehydration of 1 to 2% body weight, and many older adults are chronically underhydrated because thirst sensation declines with age. Make it a habit to drink at least 8 ounces of water first thing in the morning before you even start preparing breakfast, and watch how much sharper your thinking becomes within minutes. Now let me tell you what not to eat, because avoiding the wrong breakfast is just as important as choosing the right one, and this is where most people sabotage their memory without realizing it. Do not skip breakfast entirely, because fasting through the morning might feel convenient or you might not feel hungry, but for cognitive health after 65, Skipping breakfast is associated with poorer memory performance, slower processing speed, and increased risk of cognitive decline over time. Your brain needs fuel, and when you don't eat, your blood sugar drops, cortisol rises to mobilize stored glucose, and the stress response impairs the very cognitive functions you're trying to protect. Do not rely on sugary cereals, pastries, donuts, muffins from a bakery, or sweetened yogurt, because these foods spike your blood sugar, trigger a large insulin response, and within an hour or two you crash feeling foggy, irritable, and hungry again. That blood sugar roller coaster damages blood vessels over time, including the tiny vessels in your brain, and contributes to insulin resistance, inflammation, and increased dementia risk. Do not eat processed meats like bacon, sausage, or ham as your primary protein source, because these are high in saturated fat, sodium, and preservatives called nitrates and nitrites, which promote inflammation and oxidative stress and are linked in studies to poorer cognitive outcomes and higher risk of dementia. If you love bacon, have one slice occasionally as a flavor accent, not as your main protein, and balance it with eggs, salmon, or plant-based protein. Do not drink excessive coffee on an empty stomach. 1 cup of coffee or green tea is fine and may even support alertness and focus. But 3 or 4 cups before you've eaten anything causes jitters, anxiety, stomach upset, and a stress response that impairs memory and concentration. Caffeine is a tool, not a breakfast, and if you're using it to replace food, you're setting yourself up for a cognitive crash by mid-morning. Do not eat too little protein and fat, because a breakfast of just fruit or just toast will not sustain your blood sugar or your brain function through the morning. You need the combination of protein, healthy fat, complex carbohydrate, and antioxidants working together to stabilize glucose, support neurotransmitter production, protect against oxidative stress, and keep you satisfied. If you've been eating the wrong breakfast for years, switching to this brain-healthy version might feel different at first, but you might feel more satisfied, less hungry mid-morning, clearer in your thinking, and more energized. Give it 7 days before you judge, because your body and brain need a little time to adjust to the new fuel. But the adjustment is quick and the benefits are real, and I'm going to show you exactly how to track those benefits starting right now. Let me teach you the 7-day tracking plan so you can monitor your response and adjust as needed. Each morning, as soon as you wake up and then again mid-morning, rate your mental clarity on a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is very foggy, confused, slow, and unable to focus, and 5 is sharp, clear, quick recall, and able to concentrate easily. Write down the number because you need to see the pattern emerging over 7 days. Note whether you experience brain fog mid-morning, that feeling of mental sluggishness or difficulty finding words, or whether your focus and energy remain steady. Observe your memory function throughout the day. Are you finding words more easily? Remembering names or tasks without effort? Following conversations without losing the thread? Completing tasks you start without forgetting what you were doing? Track your mood and emotional stability. Do you feel irritable, anxious, or low? Or do you feel calm, confident, and emotionally even? Record whether you ate the brain-healthy breakfast that day, and if so, which version, and any modifications you made. By day 3 or 4, patterns will start to emerge, and this is where the magic happens. If your blood sugar feels unstable, you might be eating too much carbohydrate or not enough protein and fat. Adjust portions. If your digestion is uncomfortable, you might need to increase fiber more gradually or choose cooked vegetables instead of raw. If you feel great, energized, clear, and focused, you know the formula is working and you keep doing exactly what you're doing. At the end of 7 days, compare your day 1 mental clarity rating to your day 7 rating, and compare your day 1 memory and focus observations to your day 7 observations. Most people notice a meaningful improvement in morning clarity, reduced brain fog, easier word recall, and more sustained focus by the end of the first week. Some notice changes as early as day 2 or 3, when suddenly they're remembering where they put their keys without retracing their steps, or they're recalling a neighbor's name without that frustrating pause. A few take 2 weeks to feel the full benefit, especially if they're adjusting from a very poor baseline diet. The key is consistency, because 1 good breakfast won't change your brain health, but 7 good breakfasts in a row start to make a difference. 30 good breakfasts create a habit. 365 good breakfasts provide meaningful, measurable protection for your cognitive function and independence. When you comment, use this format. Day 1, mental clarity, 3 out of 5. Frequent brain fog. Day 7, mental clarity, 5 out of 5. No brain fog. Remembered my neighbor's name without struggling. That kind of specific feedback helps you see your own progress and helps others in this community see what's possible and feel motivated to try it themselves. Let me ground all of this in the research so you understand. This isn't guesswork or trends. This is science. Studies on the Mediterranean diet and the MIND diet, which stands for Mediterranean-Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay, consistently show that eating patterns rich in vegetables, berries, whole grains, fish, nuts, and healthy fats are associated with slower cognitive decline, better memory performance, and reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease. The MIND diet specifically emphasizes berries and leafy greens because the evidence for their cognitive benefits is so strong. Research on breakfast consumption in older adults shows that people who eat breakfast, particularly a breakfast with protein and whole grains, perform better on memory and attention tasks compared to those who skip breakfast or eat only refined carbohydrates. Studies on omega-3 fatty acids show that higher blood levels of DHA are associated with larger brain volume, better memory, and lower dementia risk, and that omega-3 supplementation may slow cognitive decline in people with mild cognitive impairment. Research on flavonoids from berries shows improvements in memory, particularly spatial memory and verbal learning, and better blood flow to brain regions involved in memory and executive function. This breakfast brings together all of those evidence-based components into one simple, daily habit that you control completely. You don't need a prescription. You don't need expensive supplements or complicated meal plans. You need eggs or salmon or walnuts, berries, oatmeal or whole grain bread, and the commitment to eat this way every morning. The power is in the consistency and the combination, not in any single magic food. Let me address who should not try this breakfast as I've described, or who needs to modify it carefully with professional guidance. If you have diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, you need to monitor your blood sugar response to any new eating pattern because the whole grain portion may need to be smaller. Perhaps a quarter cup of oatmeal or half a slice of bread, and you should check your blood sugar 1 to 2 hours after eating to see how your body responds. The goal is stable blood sugar, not spikes, because those spikes damage blood vessels and nerves and impair cognitive function. If you take blood thinners or anticoagulant medications like warfarin, be cautious with omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil or high-dose fish consumption, and with vitamin K from dark leafy greens, because both can affect your INR and bleeding risk. You don't have to avoid these foods, but you do need consistency, so eat about the same amount of greens and omega-3 foods every day so your doctor can dose your medication appropriately and discuss any changes with your healthcare provider before making them. If you have kidney disease, especially stage 3, 4, or 5 chronic kidney disease, you may have restrictions on protein, potassium, and phosphorus, and eggs, salmon, nuts, seeds, and yogurt are all high in these nutrients, so you need individualized guidance from a renal dietitian to modify portions and food choices safely. Do not guess. Get professional help. If you have gastroesophageal reflux disease or GERD, you may need to avoid or limit citrus fruits, tomatoes, high-fat preparations like fried eggs or large amounts of avocado, and coffee because these can trigger reflux symptoms. A GERD-friendly version of this breakfast might be oatmeal with berries and a tablespoon of almond butter, a poached egg on whole grain toast, and green tea or water instead of coffee. If you have food allergies, substitute as needed. If you're allergic to fish, choose eggs, walnuts, flaxseed, or chia seeds for omega-3s. If you're allergic to tree nuts, choose seeds like flax, chia, hemp, or pumpkin seeds. If you're allergic to eggs, choose Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, smoked salmon, or plant-based protein powder. If you take medications that require an empty stomach, such as levothyroxine for thyroid, or medications that require specific timing, Discuss with your pharmacist or doctor how to coordinate this breakfast with your medication schedule. Sometimes you can take the medication 30 to 60 minutes before breakfast, or adjust timing so the breakfast fits your regimen. If you have any diagnosed cognitive disorder, including mild cognitive impairment, Alzheimer's disease, vascular dementia, or any other form of dementia, this breakfast is not a treatment or cure, and you must continue all medical management, medications, and therapies prescribed by your neurologist or primary care provider. Nutrition can support brain health and may slow progression or improve quality of life, but it does not replace medical care. Now let me give you some practical modifications and alternatives for common challenges. If you're on a budget, frozen berries cost less than fresh and are just as nutritious. And canned salmon, the kind in a pouch or can with bones and skin for extra calcium, costs a fraction of fresh salmon and works beautifully in a breakfast scramble or on toast. Oats are one of the least expensive whole grains you can buy, and a large container lasts weeks, and eggs are an affordable, high-quality protein. You don't need exotic superfoods or expensive supplements. The basics work. If you have reduced appetite or feel full quickly, which is common after 65 due to changes in hunger hormones and gastric emptying, focus on nutrient density rather than volume. A small smoothie with protein, berries, and flaxseed packs a lot of nutrition into a few ounces and is easier to consume than a large plate of food. If you have limited mobility or find cooking difficult, choose no-cook options like yogurt parfaits, overnight oats, or pre-cooked hard-boiled eggs from the grocery store that you just peel and eat. If you live alone and find it hard to motivate yourself to cook, prep ingredients once or twice a week. Portion out berries, chop vegetables, mix dry overnight oats into jars so that each morning assembly is quick and easy. For those who prefer lower carbohydrate, you can reduce or eliminate the grain portion and increase the healthy fats and non-starchy vegetables. For example, 2 eggs scrambled with spinach, mushrooms, and a quarter of an avocado, a side of smoked salmon, and a half cup of berries is lower in carbohydrate, but still provides all the key brain nutrients. Monitor how you feel. Some people think more clearly with fewer carbs. Others need the grains for sustained energy. Individualize based on your response and use your 7-day tracking to guide your adjustments. If you follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, focus on plant-based omega-3s from flaxseed, chia, hemp, and walnuts, and strongly consider an algae-based DHA supplement because the conversion from ALA to DHA is inefficient. Use plant-based protein like tofu scramble, tempeh, or pea protein powder, and make sure you're getting B12 from fortified foods or a supplement, because B12 deficiency impairs cognitive function and is common in older adults, especially those who don't eat animal products. Your brain built the pathways that hold your memories, your skills, your identity, and it needs the right fuel to maintain those pathways and build new ones. When you eat a brain-healthy breakfast every day, you're giving your brain the omega-3s to keep cell membranes flexible, the antioxidants to protect against damage, the B vitamins to produce neurotransmitters, the steady glucose to fuel mental work without crashes, and the fiber to support the gut microbiome that communicates with your brain and influences everything from inflammation to mood. You're not just feeding your body, you're protecting your mind, your independence, your ability to remember the people you love and the experiences that matter. If you've been eating sugary cereal or skipping breakfast or grabbing a donut and coffee, switching to this brain-healthy breakfast will feel like a significant change, and change takes effort, but the effort is small and the return is enormous. Start with one modification. If you normally skip breakfast, start by eating anything, even if it's just a handful of walnuts and some berries. Once that habit is in place, add the other components one by one until you've built the full brain-healthy plate. If you normally eat cereal, switch to oatmeal and add berries and nuts. Build incrementally and celebrate each step, because each step is progress toward better cognitive health and a sharper, clearer, more confident you. Track your mental clarity and memory for 7 days and let the results speak for themselves. When you notice on day 4 that you remembered your grandson's friend's name without asking twice, when you realize on day 6 that you read an entire article and retained the information without rereading, when you feel on day 7 that your mind is quicker, and your mood is lighter, you'll know this works. Remember, this breakfast is one pillar of brain health, not the only pillar. You also need 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep every night, because sleep is when your brain clears metabolic waste, consolidates memories, and repairs damage. You need regular physical activity, at least 30 minutes most days, because exercise increases blood flow to the brain, stimulates growth of new neurons, and reduces inflammation. You need social engagement, meaningful relationships, and mental stimulation, because loneliness and boredom accelerate cognitive decline. You need to manage chronic conditions like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, because these damage blood vessels, including the small vessels in your brain. You need to avoid smoking and limit alcohol, both of which harm brain health, and you need regular medical care, including screening for cognitive changes, medication review to eliminate drugs that impair cognition unnecessarily, and treatment for depression or anxiety, which often masquerade as memory problems. This brain-healthy breakfast fits into that larger picture, and when you combine it with the other pillars, the effect is cumulative and powerful. You are not powerless in the face of aging or cognitive decline. You have agency and you have tools, and this breakfast is one of the most accessible, affordable, evidence-based tools available. Every single morning, you make a choice about what to eat, and that choice either supports your brain health or undermines it. Choose the eggs and berries and oatmeal. Choose the salmon and walnuts and greens. Choose the steady energy and the antioxidant protection and the omega-3 support. Choose clarity over fog, memory over forgetfulness, independence over decline. It's your brain, your health, your life, and you get to decide. If this information has been helpful, if you're ready to take control of your cognitive health starting tomorrow morning, I invite you to subscribe to Dr. Adriana for Senior Health, where I share evidence-based, practical guidance on the health concerns that matter most to you. I'm Dr. Adriana, and I'm here to help you age with strength, clarity, dignity, and confidence. Start with breakfast tomorrow. Track your mental clarity for 7 days. Notice the difference, and share your results in the comments so we can all learn and grow together. Your brain is worth it, and so are you.